courgette just been completely eaten off the plant? Because I do not remember taking that off. Got a couple more tomatoes and a slightly misshapen looking radish. Also, my first potato, which I wasn't intending to pull up. It was poking up through the soil and I was just going to recover it because it's, I don't know, a tiny bit green there, but then it just came off, so I was like, fair enough, I'll have this potato. Sad news on the durum early cabbage front. I came and opened the cold frame this morning to give things a water, and then by the time I got here this evening, they'd just shriveled and died. Not quite sure why. I mean, I'd watered them, there was ventilation, but that's plants for you, so maybe I'll start some off inside in the flat, give them a bit of a boost, and I can keep an eye on them and then plant them out later, because I'd really like some cabbages. Oh, go on then, I'll pull my first spring onion. I'll try to anyway. Come on. Oh. It's not bad. Good haircut it's got. Morning all, or afternoon all, glorious day. A few things still on the plot. I really need to try and find a way to extend the height of the netting that's over the sprouting broccoli and kale there, and then the butternut squash, sorry, the Romanesco broccoli that's under the old tent frame. I mean, I don't think it's doing them a huge amount of damage, but the leaves are getting a bit curly and it would be nice if they were a bit more square. So I don't know, I've got some old canes and some yoghurt pots to go on the top, so if I get out the rest of the netting that's in my tub, maybe I can, extend it a bit further. Then I think there's a potato on the volunteers that's ready to come out, so that's going to be pretty exciting. I mean, I already got one that was the other day that was poking through the surface, so I think there should be some that are reasonable size. The beetroot, some of them are ready to come out. I finally come up with something to do with them. I'm going to make a beetroot chutney. No idea why it took me so long to think of that, given how much I just really loved good, nice chutney. So that'll be pretty good. I mean, I've got some left over in the... Oh, hello, butterfly. I've got some left over in the fridge that could really do with using up, but I'll take a few more fresh ones. Also, I've only got one Sinesta bean left, so I'll try and plant out another pot of them in the cold frame. They're really not doing well, these beans. They're quite disappointing. I've only got one that's even vaguely usable, so fingers crossed. I mean, it says you can still plant them in July, and we are nearly at the end of July now, but oh well. Fingers crossed. Things seem to be doing reasonably well in the cold frame. Sorry, getting distracted by butterflies as usual. With the exception of the durum early cabbage that went and died, everything's been doing fairly well in there, so fingers crossed, I guess. And a bit of harvesting. I can't believe after the chard finally started doing okay, I've completely forgotten about taking some, so get some of those. There might be some beans, 1 or 2 beans coming along. I think I need to get out the last of the old pak choi. The bees like it, but maybe just leave one for them. Brand new gardening gloves, a finished potato. Let's see what we've got. Oh, here's my first crop of potatoes, and that's too bad. One of them was actually from that plant there, which was just poking through, and I thought it would be a bit too difficult really to cover it back up again, so might as well take it out now. So that's 8 potatoes all together. One of them's got... Is that going to be lit up in focus? This one's got a little hole in the top, but not too bad, and they're all a reasonable size, I think. The smallest one's maybe this one, but then you've got them up to this size, so I'll do a few meals. A lot of the little courgettes seem to be dying off on this plant. Maybe it is time to get the marrows off after all. Oh, you could kill a man with that. That's an offensive weapon, that is. Oh dear, it seems Tilly has brought me a little present. I won't show you the half-eaten mouse that a wasp's currently munching on. Could that be, in the Romanesco, a wee little flower? If it is, it's the only one. The others are big and green and definitely in need of a bigger house, but no more sign of any actual broccoli. I swear, I left the Romanesco alone for like 5 minutes to have a cup of tea, and this is what we have. And also this. Disgraceful. Well, look at all that green from the sprouting broccoli and the kale. It's not looking too bad, though there has been quite a bit of damage in places, and there were some little orange eggs on that I've had to take off. You see the kale's been quite badly chomped by something, so quite a bit of weeding to do under here. I think the beetroot that I sowed a while ago, that was an error. It probably would have worked before everything had gotten so big, but now it's such a jungle in there that nothing little is going to grow. So yeah, quick weed, sort out, prune some of the dead leaves, maybe try and have a go under here as well. Not sure how the kale's doing. I have given the butternut squash leaves a trim again, but there's definitely some very yellow looking leaves. Hopefully not because they're just dying off, and they'll last until the butternut squash are finished, then they can be released and grow big and healthy. That's the plan anyway. Oh dear, someone needs a good haircut. Suspicious slime trails. Wonder who that could be. Maybe those beetroot? Maybe. Oh well, I'll leave them if they are there, and if they're not, then they can just be pulled up. Well, it's not quite as high as I was hoping for. Beetles. Go and eat that mouse. It's not quite as high as I was hoping for. I've been a bit constrained really by how much netting I've got, because it carries on from over where the squashes are, and I guess I could have put fresh netting down, but it seemed to make more sense just to carry it on over. But hopefully there's a bit more give, so when new leaves come through on the broccoli and the kale, I can just sort of lift it up and they won't get quite so curled over, which would be good. But they do seem to be all growing fairly well. I'm not quite sure about the poor kale. I don't know if I can focus there. That's underneath the squash. They are growing, but they're definitely a bit more yellow. But, you know, fingers crossed they'll pick up. What are you doing? What are you looking at? There's nothing there. Oops, managed to turn around too quickly and knock the flower head off my cooking onion that I planted. Oh well. I mean, I don't think it was going to be a hugely exciting flower. Maybe I'll pop it in a vase of water or do something. I've had a cunning plan to stop my poor onions getting all squished when I'm moving the hose pipe around. Well, I say cunning, I'm pretty sure everyone does it. A little bit of the, I'm sure you can guess, one of the clothes horses. Topped off with the lid of the vitamin bottle, the bottles of which are on top of the hose pipe stand, and then held on with a bit of cheese wax. I'm not sure how secure that's going to be. I mean, it is metal, so if the lid comes off and someone trips on it, that's going to do them some damage. Well, hopefully even in the heat the wax won't melt too much. Famous last words. Yikes, I've really allowed the carrot bed to get completely out of control. Quite a lot of these aren't carrots. I mean, those blue flowers definitely aren't carrots. Some pruning needed here, or weeding rather, and maybe also some pruning. There we go, that's a bit better. The ants have definitely set up home there. It doesn't seem to have had a huge effect on the quality of the carrots. The main problem is that you can't actually see how big they are without sticking your hands in an ant's nest. But we have carrots. This one has a slug in it, unfortunately, but the rest aren't bad, and Cosmic Purple haven't split for once. I was wondering, what's the best way to get one of these little guys back? I was going to put it in the bag, but then I was worried it would get squashed by the marrow and potatoes and all the heavier things. But I've just realised. See, ridiculous bucket hats, they do come in useful for something after all. We also need to see how much this bad boy weighs. Although, for some reason, the scales keep going up. Come on, go back down to 0. 0. Finally. Okay, let's see. Nearly 2 kilograms of of marrow. That's not too bad. I'll have to think of something to do with it then. Well, that's my job for Sunday. Time for potatoes. Nice.